Previously on Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
We want to make sure that we really stick the landing with Trials. It's important that this doesn't go out half-baked.
Roll! Roll!
It must be freaking embarrassing if you deserve this.
You and you, fuck off! Get out!
And now, the conclusion.
Wow, that is delicious. Finally, some good fucking food.
What's going on, ladies and gents, boys and girls, guardians of all ages, Joker back again once again, and today, people, today, Bungie is on a roll, and dare I say, Destiny 2 is quite possibly in the best place it has ever been. And in the most recent iteration of unfuckingthegame.exe, Bungie has largely fixed Trials of Osiris? Like, you know, I would say 95% fixed. That's not anywhere near a statistical accurate representation of the unfucking that has happened to Trials of Osiris. I just pulled that number out of my ass. But here are numbers that I didn't pull out of my ass. At the time of writing this script, the re-release of Trials of Osiris has had over 500,000 players, 2.5 million matches, 64 million kills, 157,000 flawless players, and 188,598 flawless characters. And given that I'm writing this on a Sunday, and Trials of Osiris still has all day and all night and all of Monday, that is quite literally just the tip of the iceberg. You just love to see it. But we are getting ahead of ourselves. Every video is somebody's first, so before we get to my opinion on the state of Trials, let's talk about what Bungie actually changed. The patch notes. Trials' reputation internal systems has been rebuilt, aligning with that of other ritual reputations. Reputation gain per match is scaled by the number of round wins on a ticket. Trials passages are now account scoped. Purchasing the same ticket on an alternate character will not reset ticket wins. Passage of Ferocity is now available from the start. Passage of Wisdom is no longer available. Passage of Wealth now requires 7 wins. Unlocking a passage now unlocks it for the rest of the season. Replace the weekly 3, 5, 7-win challenges with a Wind Round challenge. A new 7-win challenge is available on Saint 14. Removed weekly bounties. Made changes to rule sets. Trials of Osiris round time reduced to 90 seconds. Trials of Osiris. Each round starts with fresh special ammo. Crossplay must be enabled to participate in Trials of Osiris. Added third-person camera restricted tooltip and load screen hint to Trials, Elimination, and Showdown. Trials of Osiris now requires purchase of the current yearly expansion. Currently, Beyond Light is required to play. Starting February 22nd, 2022, the Witch Queen will be required. So those are the bullet points, but what's the game-to-game experience feel like? Well, for one, Trials of Osiris now has open to all matchmaking. This has been a bit of a point of pain for some players, as Destiny matchmaking has never been the best at sorting solo queues from teams. One suggestion that I keep seeing thrown around is a freelance Trials of Osiris playlist. But I don't think that's a good idea. One of the biggest issues with Trials in the past is player population. Add a solo queue playlist and we're kinda sorta back to square one, with both playlists having a diminished population. Why does this matter? Well, for a few reasons. Trials of Osiris has rematchmaking criteria: skill-based matchmaking, connection-based matchmaking, and card-based matchmaking. All of these systems work together to try to find players of equal skill. However, solo queue players may have noticed that while their opponents are largely in their same skill bracket, their teammates are often potatoes without thumbs. This is largely due to lobby balancing and the game thinking you're better than what you are, and believing that you can carry an entire team by yourself, which is dumb. Now I understand why this is a point of pain for solo players. However, all further diluting the pool of players will do is further magnify skill disparity, as the less people in the playlist, the wider the skill parameters need to be to find matches. Same with peer-to-peer connection. The less people in the playlist, the worse the connections will be. Or to put it another way, the less people in the playlist, the more likely you are to have games where you're matched against people who are using McDonald's Wi-Fi to play Destiny Online. So yeah, sure, if solo players get their own freelance playlist, they might not have to deal with people communicating. Keyword, might not, because there's always in-game chat. The overall experience will become lesser as you're sacrificing a closer skill gap, lobby balancing, and better connections. For what? So you don't have to deal with people who can communicate? I'm not necessarily sure that's a great trait, more so for the health of the game mode, because it's a spiral, right? Right now we're seeing an all-time high for the Trials of Osiris game mode. I'll try to get the final numbers while I'm editing this video, but at the time of writing it, there's 1 million PvP players. Mind you, PvE only had 1.3 million the day that I recorded this. Now, of course, there's going to be a huge overlap there. And obviously, depending on when Destiny Tracker records their stats, or Trials Report records their stats, they're not going to line up, but that's not important. The important thing to remember is we're at the release of the revamp at the start of a new season. So you're going to have categorically more people engaged with the mode than you will say in 2 or 3 months. Once that starts happening, you're going to see those matchmaking preferences really come into play, and dividing up the player population even further is not a great way to keep the game mode healthy. So while I sympathize with solo queues, I don't think splitting a playlist is the right solution. What Bungie can and should do is prioritize solo queues matching other solo queues within the default playlist. And then if that matchmaking time exceeds X amount of time to find a match, those matchmaking preferences open up from solo queues to solo queues and duos. And only once all of those parameters have lapsed can a solo queue match a 3-stack. I also think that Bungie should hide the queue when matchmaking, as you can queue dodge 3 stacks by backing out if you see a 6 out of 6 in time. Meaning right now there are 3 stacks matching into trials and backing out if they get paired with another 3-stack. But I've been saying for years now that we don't need different playlists for everything. We need more matchmaking options. If you, the player, want to have longer matchmaking times so you can tailor it to personal preferences, then you should be able to do that. Speaking of matchmaking, one of the things that people will note is when Trials of Osiris originally released, I was vehemently against skill-based matchmaking being part of the playlist simply because of how exploitable skill-based matchmaking is. And while it's still true that you can exploit the skill-based matchmaking and throw a bunch of games to drop your ELO in order to get easier games, you would have to do this every week because the ELO of the playlist resets, which is a wonderful compromise. But once you're playing and you're winning and you're getting rewards, what's the game look like? Well, the reward structure was reworked from the ground up. Instead of needing to win 3, 5, or 7 games to get loot, you earn rep, win or lose. The amount of reputation that you earn is not directly tied to whether you win or lose specific games. It's specifically tied to your passage. So if you have 7 wins, it doesn't matter if you lose 100 games. You will still get 100 rep every game. Same thing if you win. If you have 7 wins on your passage and you win the next 100 games, you'll get 100 rep each game. Because Trials also uses card-based matchmaking, this incentivizes players to keep competing on finished cards. As you rank up, Saint will not only have Trials engrams you can either focus or have decrypted at Master Raoul, but he has a reward track similar to other vendors, so you can unlock all of these rewards just by playing. On top of all of that, playing on a 7-win card gives you a chance to have Trials engrams, prisms, and Ascended shards drop at the end of matches. All in all, Trials is single-handedly the most rewarding experience in all of Destiny. A cross between being able to farm loot on a 7-win card, and always working towards not just rank-up packages, but guaranteed loot on rank-up tracks, on top of being able to focus loot, on top of, if you've unlocked any adept weapons, you'll be able to farm them with your 7-win Trials passage, on top of Trials being extremely rewarding with materials. It really does feel like a mode that is respecting your time. But of course, ladies and gents, boys and girls, guardians of all ages, no good deed goes unpunished. With a larger player population due to crossplay on console, the ability for players to now just queue into games without a full team, with skill-based matchmaking, with BattleEye banning cheaters, with Bungie cracking down on recovery services, more people than ever have the opportunity to go to the Lighthouse. This has, in the eyes of some, diminished the prestige of the achievement of going to the Lighthouse. Yeah, prestige these nuts. Destiny is the potato chip of video games. What prestige can there be in obtaining something through actually just playing the game that people were cheating or paying other people to do for them? Yeah, no. Destiny is not Halo, it's not Call of Duty, it's not CSGO. We're literally talking about a game with Shatter Dive, aka Pocket Titan Slam, but better, Jotun, the Vex Mythoclast, shotguns that can cross-map 100 aim assist snipers, and linear fusion rifles that are basically just aimbots on crack. There is a cascade of innumerable balance issues, from perks to abilities, that make the average Destiny PvP match less about skill and more about how hard can you craft macaroni and cheese. So you dumbasses bitching about the prestige of trials being lost. Yeah, fuck off with that shit, you 16-piece chicken McNobodies. Just stop pretending that Destiny is ever gonna be Counter-Strike or Halo or Call of Duty or highly competitive. It's not. And it's a fucking joke that you think so. Anyways, I'm finding the new Trials experience to be extremely enjoying and very rewarding. Bungie did a really fantastic job of knocking this Trials revamp out of the park, and we can finally say, once and for all, definitively, that Trials of Osiris is fully baked. But hey, those are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Remember to like, but only if you did, subscribe for more, feel free to donate to my Patreon if you're feeling particularly generous, but above all else, stay frosty.